Hi, good morning, everyone. So, I'm out here in Moorcroft, Wyoming, and yes, I'm out in the cold. It was below freezing last night. Feels pretty cold now. But it got me thinking about what's happening in the courts and continues to happen to our children. And the most recent case there in Texas with Jeffrey Younger and his son James really made me upset because, first of all, that a decision like that is so permanent and so deeply rooted in parental rights and their beliefs that it's just beyond me that a jury would even be presented with a question about whether or not they get to decide this young boy's permanent future. Right? Who of you would go to your neighbors and ask, "Hey, I want you to take over decision making for me, and I want you to decide if my child gets to start hormone therapy," which, by the way, can cause blood clots. There are irreversible permanent effects from these things. So what has happened? And by the way, there were even advocates there at that hearing watching, and nobody, this is what's pissing me off. Nobody is telling these parents, even though they know us, they know these things, and I'm sick of it. Nobody's telling these parents that they have rights that would protect them from these kinds of results. Instead, they're just sitting there. All you advocates and all you activists that went there, tell me if you told this father and his attorney and attorneys that they should be arguing this differently. You tell me if you did this, because quite frankly, I am pissed. I am pissed off that you guys would sit there and tolerate that. I can't stand it. I can't stand sitting in these courts watching parents totally get ripped. In fact, I spent late last night helping a parent in Texas with their attorney so they can fight these kinds of abuses. Okay? That's what you guys should be doing. So if you're going to these courts and you're just watching this happen and just reporting on it, shame on you for not giving them this information, for not telling. You're right, I'm pissed. I don't usually go on here pissed, but it pisses me to no end to find out that a young boy is going to spend now the rest of his life having to be forced into living permanently through a phase that he may be going through. And I agree with Mark Ludwig that children go through phases. And there's nobody that can say for sure whether or not that's all this is. So, you guys think about it. If you're going to keep just watching people go through it and feeling sorry for them, and then telling them, you know what, this sucks, and let's go change our laws, you're not a solution to the problem. It's just a Band-Aid. We can go change laws 50 million times, and judges can ignore those. And if you don't believe that your rights give you the power to stand up to these abuses, then why are you even fighting in court? Why are you even bothering? Right? If you think you have to go to a legislator and beg them to pass something before you can protect your child, that's part of the problem. You guys need to change your mindset. You need to change your perspective on this. Those courts did not have any right to interfere with this father's decision of what's best for his child, and they did not have any right to give permission to one parent to use this kind of therapy on a child that's permanent and life-altering. They needed to wait until that child is 18 and not intervene and not interfere with each of these parents' determination of what's best for their child. So protecting equal time, yes, that is part of it, but there's a lot more to it. Protecting each parent from another parent being allowed to go to court and ask for relief that they are not entitled to under the Constitution is really the underlying core problem. That's what you need to be telling these attorneys. And if they are not willing to fight and argue this issue, and by the way, you guys, there are new developments that have happened that make it easier for you to fight for these rights. One of them is the American Bar Association Delegate Resolution that got approved on August 26th of this year. They had their mid-year meeting on August 12th and 13th and presented a resolution that said there was a gap in the statutes. They didn't specify any particular state, which means they were talking about every single state in the United States and their territories. They said there is a gap in their policy, that they are now recognizing that they were only protecting children's rights under best interest of the child and completely ignoring the child's right to family integrity and family unity, and completely ignoring the parental rights that protect those children to that family integrity and unity, right? So you can use that now as justification to put in your arguments into your petitions and tell these courts, hey, this is how I'm going to be presenting my case. These are the laws I will be following. These are controlling on your court. Your court is not authorized or allowed to go outside the Constitution. And I will stand my ground because my child is that important to me. And that's what you need to be telling them. You've had enough. You guys, if you haven't had enough, keep playing their game. Keep buying into their story and their narrative and their expensive business model telling you that you have to go and pay an attorney to fight or you're going to lose. Because you know what? You've already lost if you bought into that game. No matter what end you end up on, they're in control of your child's life and at any time. Even if you won temporarily, look at your orders, look at those statutes. It says at any time once they make an order on the rights of your child, they are forever in control. All the other parent has to do is make something up and drag you back into court or drive you into bankruptcy where you can't fight and you lose that child. If they don't like that you've won something, like you see parents alienating because you got part-time with your child and the other parent doesn't like it, they go and they violate orders and they alienate you from that child. You lose your child. So you might as well stand up and fight now. Don't drive yourself into bankruptcy. Save your resources for that fight, for the real fight, for the fight that makes a difference. And you guys need to be teaching these parents these things. So I'm going to say it again. Shame on every single one of you that know Jeffrey Younger that did not tell him how to change this fight. Our information is out there. These materials are out there. We have memberships where you can dive deeper into the information. We are available where you can get in touch with us so we can help you integrate that and make the most powerful fight these courts have ever seen. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for this. That poor boy is suffering because of all of you who stood by and thought, maybe you thought you were being supportive of that father, but what that father and that son needed was something powerful, the leverage to take away that need to go to, I'm calling the jury neighbors, right? They're supposed to be peers. The need to go to them and place that right and those protections in the hands of all those strangers. No different than asking a stranger, a judge, to make that decision. So now you have 9 people making that decision. 9, 12, however many people are in your juries in your states. I'm not even going to think about those numbers right now. It's just sad. It makes me really sad what's happening. And I'm going to look at your comments real quick. I am kind of freezing out here, even though I have a jacket, but let's, we might even walk towards the building here. So, let me look at some of your comments. Yes, Holly, wake up. That's true. They need to wake up. Patrick, you're correct. The child does not have more rights than a parent, and he says the child is choosing something a parent doesn't want. Well, it's a little bit more than that, Patrick. It's not just the child's choosing. That child's not choosing. The other parent is choosing. Okay, children expressing feelings, saying they're connected to a character on the movie Frozen, and children going through phases experiences and wanting to test out their boundaries. That's not them choosing. They're just exploring life, right? They depend on their parents to protect them from any permanent dangers and damage, right? We let our children explore to a certain point so that they can develop, so that they can find their right space in life, right? I raised 4 of my own children. I helped raise 2 of my friends' children. My current husband, his daughter. We're speaking from experience here. There were lots of things I let my son do that a lot of people didn't agree with, right? We went rock climbing every Friday. He would climb up on the jungle gyms in school. He fell off one time, 5 feet, hit his head. So a lot of people complained that I let him climb, right? That I let him explore like that I let him take some risks. It was a safe risk. He was at a playground that had the ground treatment. It wasn't the rubber, but it was another kind of ground treatment to soften their fall. So he was fine. He survived. I let him skateboard. I let him try things on the skateboard that some people, like his father, would get upset about because he was a racer. You could call a professional racer. He raced go-karts since he was little, and if he injured his hands, it could impact his career. We thought he would go on to become a professional race car driver as an adult, which he would have, by the way, if the divorce hadn't used all of our resources. I let him take risks that sometimes the other parent didn't like, but they weren't necessarily permanent, life-altering, like hormone therapy, right? Those are not things you experiment with. That's a permanent change in life. That's where you draw the line. That's where the Constitution draws the line. No parent is allowed to do that with a child if the other parent is in disagreement. What is the harm of waiting until this child is 18 years old? He's going to go through a lot of phases, a lot of differences, a lot of choice changes. I'll give you another example. From the time I was 5 until about 11th grade, I wanted to be a veterinarian. Loved animals, wanted to be an animal doctor. 11th grade, I changed my mind. Changed my mind and applied for a scholarship to do marine biology, right? Still animal related, but a little bit different. Can you imagine if I had been forced to become a veterinarian? I probably would have hated it. In fact, I know I would have hated it. I visited Davis University, and the reason I had changed my mind is because of some of the ethics and the rules that they stated, that if a person wanted their animal put to sleep and I didn't want to lose my license, I was going to obey their decision. That went against my own principles and ethics, and I wasn't about to do it. So I certainly wasn't going to pay hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars to go to college, get that license, and lose it when I know I would have taken every single one of those animals home. In fact, my daughter has a rescue right now and has a lot of animals she saves, and she would save all of them if she had the room. So my point is, these children need saving too. And these rights do not allow, your constitutional rights do not allow one parent to bully you and force their way and their belief and their position onto you or onto your child. These are not the child choosing. This is the mom choosing, a jury siding with her. And we'll see what the judge does. So we're hoping that this judge hears and sees this, and this judge realizes that the father and the son did not receive the protections that the Constitution intends, and that he throws this out and denies this medical hormone therapy treatment for gender transitioning. So share this with as many people as you can, so this judge hopefully will be one to see this video and understand that this son did not get the proper protection, that the jury probably wasn't even instructed properly. So let's see what else you guys have said, and I put my glasses away because they're quite cold on my face as well. Let's try it again. Excuse the sniffly nose. Okay, so what is the name of resolution? It's 118 or 181, somewhere like that. Brett, I'll send it to you. I have your email. So I'll send that over to you as soon as I get back into the truck. And let's see what else everyone has said. Bring our kids home. Holly, thank you. Thanks, Darlene, for coming. So it's kind of cold out here, you guys. I'm going to let you go. Feel free to message me if you need any further information. If you're trying to help another parent, please, please start helping them guide their attorney. Become an advocate that is taking action, okay? Not just sitting there observing them getting screwed. Thank you, guys. Talk to you again another time. Bye.